these pine trees that are brown and dead, it's because either a fungus or one of these called pine beetles will get through the bark and bring and disease the very meat, if you will, the wood, if you will, of the tree and kill it. They can't penetrate the giant sequoia because the bark protects the tree. It has thick skin. Also, the bark produces its own fire retardant. So fire doesn't hurt the tree. Matter of fact, it helps it. I'll show you why. You see, the sequoias love winter. They love snow, lots of it, lots of it. They love storms. They love the wind, and they love the fire because it takes all of it to keep the tree healthy and strong. Storms, wind, and fire, which brings devastation to a whole lot of other things. But not the giant sequoia. The Bible says you're like a tree planted by the living waters. Let me show you the pine cone. Show the green one, George. You got see the one on the left? That pine cone, you need a sledgehammer. Animals can't crack it, and there's life inside the cone. They say General Sherman produces about 11,000 cones a year, 2 billion cones in its lifetime. General Sherman is over 3,000 years old. There's a plaque that says this tree was a sapling when King David ruled Israel. Now, the coastal trees live about 2,000 years. They're tough, but the coastal trees live off fog and moist. They like the moist soil and fog, but they don't live as long. But here's something I read the other day, and it fascinated me. Giant sequoias grow faster the older they get. They get stronger and grow faster the older they get. Any old timers out there? That's good news. You ain't slowing down, baby. You're just getting bigger and better and stronger. See that green pine cone? Do you know what it needs to look like the one on the left? See the one on the right already went through the fire. It's only fire that pops open the pine, which releases the seed, which produces new life. The redwood, the giant sequoia, loves the fire. Why does it love the wind? It knocks the pine cones off the tree. Because the fire usually runs along the ground with all the kindling. Remember what Jesus said? I come to bring fire, but there's not enough kindling to get it going yet. And my Father won't let this revival start yet, this end-time revival, until, there's going to be some things happen, first century, of course. Then we go through the dark ages, and then all of a sudden, the last couple hundred years, revival started going again, and we're enjoying it, and we're seeing it, and hopefully we're having one, we're going to have one. But it takes the heat of fire to pop open so life can come out. Go back to that snow picture, fellas. There's what it looks like after the fire. Now see the snow? That giant sequoia also loves to be frozen because it kills other bugs and diseases that are trying to get in and kill General Sherman. But General Sherman won't die. He's too tough to die. Lightning don't hurt it. Fire helps it. He loves snow. Bring on the wind. Everything that kills a whole bunch of other things. Peter said, think not it strange, this fiery trial, because it's God making you stronger, making you better, making you bigger, making you tougher. And it only comes by fire. Yeah, fascinating. So if I'm going to be a tree, I want to be a giant sequoia. I don't want to be a weeping willow. There's too many weeping willows at church. Pastor hurt my feelings. I'm going to this other church. Listen, you need some bark. You need to grow some thicker skin. Yeah. And the Bible says the devil throws those fiery darts. The sequoia says, bring it on. I love the fire. I love the fire. Got to pop open some seeds. All these pine cones inside you. Need some heat. Yeah. That's why Jesus said, I've come to bring fire. This is, to me, interesting. The year 1348. Because of the Silk Road, which Marco Polo kind of opened, as you know, this little flea called Asian, or the Oriental flea, made its way to Europe and brought the Black Plague with it. 200 million people, up to 200 million people died because of the Black Plague. Does anybody remember as a kid, ring around the rosy, pocket full of posy, ashes, ashes, all fall down? That song came out of the Black Plague because there were piles of human diseased bodies that had to be burned to ashes. It's a macabre song. The year now is 1665. The plague would have a run, kill people, kind of, slow down. But then it would come, and nobody knew what brought this plague. Nobody knew what ignited it. Nobody knew. Nobody knew. The church said it's the judgment of God, or it's the whatever, and all kinds of superstition and all kinds of, but there was no scientific proof of this. So let's move up 300 years. The date is September 2nd. It's a Monday. It's the year 1665. What's the date tomorrow? It's a Monday. I find it interesting. I don't know if it's prophetic, Victor, but I find that interesting that tomorrow is September the 2nd and it's a Monday. Let's go back. Let's go to London. Let's go to the city of London. Monday morning, September 2nd, fire breaks out. Today we call it the Great London Fire. It went Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Devastated London. Some of you know that. 80,000 people lost their lives. Horrible. The plague was raging in that part of England. Thousands had already died of the plague. But after Thursday, nobody got the plague. Nobody. In England or Europe. The plague was gone. As they're cleaning the city, getting rid of the debris and, of course, the dead bodies, they had to go down to the sewers of London because they had to, and to their surprise, piles of millions and millions of rats. And what they thought was ashes, they didn't know what it was billions and billions of Oriental fleas that couldn't escape the fire. Yes, the fire was devastating. But today, they credit that fire for saving hundreds of millions of lives because the fire killed the rats, the fire killed the fleas, and the fire killed the disease. Because the fire got down into the subterranean parts of a city. And now they knew. And so now, Rat Patrol, Rome, Paris, everybody went down and cleaned the sewers, killed the rats that were still carrying, and the plague stopped. It's a pretty famous story, actually. I want you to stand up. This is what I believe. There's a whole lot of us. We let the rats in. We listen to the rats. The rats got in our soul. They brought the fleas with them. And we got a disease. And we wonder why we're not having breakthrough. We wonder why things aren't working. We wonder why we have these problems. We wonder why we can't shake this. We wonder why. You see, the subterranean part of London was the dark sewer part, and that's where the devil wants to get. The devil wants to get down in the sewer of your mind, that dark area of your mind. And it might be some type of addiction. It might be something you're ashamed of. You don't want to deal. You don't want nobody to see it. And God is saying today, I need to bring the fire. I need to bring the fire. I need to kill the rats so I could kill the fleas, so I could heal you of your disease. So what have we been doing? What have we been doing all summer? Calling down fire, praying for fire, asking God to send the fire. Why? We want a revival, but the revival's got to start by getting rid of the stuff that's in the sewer of our soul, because that's where disease grows. And Jesus said, I've come to